Welcome to another 2-Minute Finance for Expats. This guide comes to you with the help of our friends at Acer Group and Opus Fidelio. Our topic today is offshore bonds. These are almost certainly not appropriate for US citizens. They're also expensive compared with alternatives and have potential tax traps. Also, you may not have been told that an offshore bond is even being utilised. However, the probability is, if you're an expat and have asked for investment advice outside the US from local advisors, the chances are that an offshore bond will be an option, even if it's not declared. So how do you identify one? Well, if your funds have an attachment to the Isle of Man, Cayman Islands, Guernsey, Bermuda, Mauritius, or even Ireland, then you have one. What is an offshore bond? Offshore bonds are investment policies offered by international life assurance companies, normally set up as life assurance policies in order to circumvent tax legislation in many countries. When they were first introduced, they had many advantages. A larger choice of investment funds than had been available before under one roof was probably the main one. The other advantage was what was called gross roll-up, which meant you paid very little tax on the growth until you cashed them in. That was then, this is now. In many circumstances, we fail to see how bonds improve the situation of anyone but the person selling them. Offshore bonds can often be a way for salesmen to hide additional charges and earnings in structured products and non-regulated funds, giving you, the investor, no regulatory protection. Even worse, when used within pension contracts like British pensions, international SIPs and QROPs, an offshore bond offers no tax advantages whatsoever. In many cases, investors are unaware of these extra charges and commissions until they see the effect they have when they try to cash in the policy. Make no mistake, any commission, marketing allowance, etc. will always be paid by you, the investor, and over many years. If you want to access it early, there may be surrender penalties and you lose even more money. Recent rule changes have made offshore bonds even less attractive for a US connected person. Offshore bonds are now subject to US income tax at your highest marginal US rate, up to 37%. This is despite the tax-free growth often talked about by commission-based salesmen. So what can you do? Get professional advice from a suitably qualified investment advisor. There are now investments available for US connected persons which can escape the income tax trap. Many are subject to capital gains tax, normally the maximum 20%, but the generous annual allowances can often mean the investment is tax-free. Even if you're subject to surrender penalties on the existing investment, still take advice. It is perfectly possible that future lower charges, better tax treatment, and potentially better growth will be enough to outweigh any surrender penalties very quickly. If you're returning to the US soon, you should be aware that many investment platforms will insist on you cashing in the investment anyway, resulting in extra charges, so you might consider it better to take control of your investments now. Thanks for listening, and remember, we're expats too.